walked on water last week.
You guys are complaining too much about your dad. You may lose it.
I tell you,
It wasn't too long.
what I wouldn't give to sit and have a 30-minute conversation with that super.
I need him about every fourth day.
Yep.
Especially with these grain prices going nuts.
Mike, the chair recognizes a quorum. If you please rise and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is approval of minutes. Everyone had a chance to read the minutes? If so, are there any corrections?
Move the minutes be approved as sent.
Mr. Rumball moves to be approved. Do we have a second? Second. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approval of agenda is our next one. Do we table that now, or do we wait till new business? We have been informed that under new business, they ask for us to table that for 60 days, or for 60 days. So I will call for a motion to table that.
Oh, the new business? Okay.
So I'll call for a motion to table it.
Move to table A, public hearing for petition RP-22-01.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hill, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Been tabled. Now, do we have an approval for the rest of the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as it now stands.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Michelle seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go on to old business. Public hearing for petition MIP 2201, the preliminary and final plat. Is Holloway Engineering on behalf of Ernest Gutting and Gutting Real Estate LLC is requesting approval of a single lot minor plat. The property is located on Banner Road in Harrison Township and is zoned R2 and B3. This is continued from the 1/11/22 meeting.
Good evening. I'm John Larison from Holloway Engineering, and I did pass out a packet of information for you at the last meeting. Those of you who would like another copy, I've also got one that includes contours that I can send out if you're interested in that. We've looked at this property over the years repeatedly, and I don't want to bore you with any more than you really want to see. But the issues that we were tabled for last month, it seemed that the entire issue was the utility, cluster system, septic system that 6 of the homes are on. And if you remember, there was going to be a meeting the day following our meeting. And at that meeting, there was going to be a vote as to whether or not the residents wanted to stay in the IURC or possibly allow the Guttings to remove from the IURC simply because of the expense of the reporting requirements. Literally quite a package of information for a 6-home utility. This utility is subject to the same reporting requirements that larger cities are required to submit every year. So that was the reason that they were interested in being out of the IURC. At that meeting, the vote was no. They wanted to stay in the IURC. I believe they felt like that offered them more stability oversight, et cetera. That's all I have for you. As far as new information, I would like for Derek Gutting, this is Ernie's son, Derek, to come up and talk with you and maybe correct any misinformation that I've already passed on to you, but he was at the meeting, so I'd like for him to talk with you.
I'm Derek Gutting, Keller Williams Realty. I'm actually, was selling most of the lots in Oak Hills. My father owns the land.
Can you pick up the mic?
Oh, yeah. And so actually, we had that meeting with the homeowners to get out of the IURC jurisdiction, and they didn't deny it. It's just they didn't have all the information, and we had an attorney there at that time, and they were a little bit, whoa, hold on, can we spend a little more time and get our own attorney and figure out what this really means, getting out of the IURC jurisdiction? Because for us, it was just about filing an 80-page document. We really want to spend $500, $700 a year on an attorney or an accountant to do that. And can we just get out of this? We're like 6 homes. It's not a big deal. And our attorney at that point had said, look, they always will have the IURC as the watchdog. They're still protected through IURC. This is just about rates and that kind of thing. So long story short, all they said at that point was just, can we, get a little more time? Can we get another month? Can we maybe 60 days, whatever, and let's get an attorney and review it. So we said, well, okay, that's fine. And then since that, I said, you know what? Let's just quit even worrying about this. We are not going to get removed from the IURC jurisdiction. That's going to make them happy. So, because it's $500 to $700, but the reality is, the reason we're here today is we are separating, the request is to get these 2 separate parcels that are already separated. It's not like we're trying to re-separate anything. Can we get 2 tax IDs? Because I've got a guy that's buying the south property that's 22 acres. And of course, we've got somebody who wants to buy this other parcel. So that's why we're here, to just do that. And now hopefully that's something that we can approve, but I don't know your questions, but that's where we end up leaving it with them. And I talked to Sean Paris, who's a user, and he's like, look, we're not trying to hold you up. They can separate these parcels. We don't care. You can sell them. We're just worried about our interests as users on the system. And I said, I totally get it. We'll leave you in the IURC.
And the reason we're here tonight is, remember, the south parcel is 22 acres. It does not fall under the jurisdiction of your subdivision control ordinance. 20 acres or more, not considered a subdivision of parcels. This one is 17.9 acres, so it is subject to plating requirements. That is why we're here. The subdivision itself divided this property.
Back in 2000 and whatever. So it's already been subdivided. That's why I was a little confused. It's not like we're trying to chunk off an 8-acre parcel in trying to get a zoning approval for that. These are already 2. You've done a boundary survey, you've got legal descriptions. We've already paid for that. There's 2 separate parcels. And I thought, because I don't know this process, I was like, can we just get a new tax ID? I think I called Laura and said, hey, Laura, we need a new tax ID. How do we, I need to get new property bills generated for the 2 separate parcels. And that's when you said we need to get the 20 acres.
And in hindsight, had we known then, obviously, the way this whole situation was going to unfold and not develop, we probably would have left 20 and 20.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
this is where we are.
And
that is why we're here.
And I will stress that we've ran this thing since 2013. My dad would go down there and mows the grass. He maintains this. He lives in Indianapolis, county line at 135. So he drives down there, and every week. We want to do good with all the users. We're not trying to do anything here whatsoever. Now he's ready at 85 years old, 86 years old almost, to sell the remaining part of the land. And I think we conveyed that to the users on the system. He's not going to be around forever. So. There is a new buyer on that property. He wants to maintain it. We're putting him through the IURC. You have to go through the IURC. You all know this to be approved as the owner of the system. So that's going to protect the users. They're like, well, who is this guy? What if he goes off to Florida and doesn't maintain it? Well, the fact that we're staying in the IURC jurisdiction is that he's got to go through the process to make sure he's financially and technically and managerially
ability to run this system. And once they approve him, that's when we sell him the land, is once he's an approved IURC owner of the system. So I feel like we're doing everything we possibly can to protect them with that system.
You run any soil test on that up there? Test plugs?
Yes, we did. In fact, I've got the original set of plans that Algae Wheel, Aldrich Environmental prepared for that system, and they indicate a series of soil tests that are indicated with SD and a number, soil boring and a number.
When were these done?
These were done in 2000, would be 2006. I don't even know.
It's around 2007, 2008 when it was really originally started in there, working on that thing.
This set of documents is the septic system plan for the leach field that is in place.
Yeah.
And you can see, they did the soil tests across the entire field. We just became aware today that it would be valuable to have these soil tests at the meeting. You know, for some reason, this crowd doesn't respond to anything until the day of the meeting. Unfortunately, we're getting a lot of email on February the 14th, 2 or 3 hours before the meeting. These folks have been trying to organize meetings and get everybody on the same page and get a consensus together. You know, we're all going to move in a certain direction, and then we get emails on February the 14th at 3 o'clock. You know,
Well, it was approximately, I don't, maybe 7, 10, 12 days ago, I did send an email to every single one of those users, there's 6 of them, and said, guys, just so you know, this should be good. We are not removing the system from the IURC jurisdiction. So we are moving forward with exactly the way it is, and we are, moving forward with the sale of the property, but we are not taking it out of there. And just, if you guys have questions, please email me or call me, 317-679-6767. I'd love to answer any questions you guys have. I haven't heard a word from them, and that was at least 7, 10 days ago. And then, oh yeah, we had the meeting, and again, they didn't say no. That was I think that's an important part. They said, guys, and there was some eye rolling about the timing and different things, and I totally get it, and I understand their perspective. I really do, the way that worked out. But their issue has been resolved with us not removing it from the IURC. And again, we're just trying to separate the parcels so my dad can sell the land, and I understand they want protection on the system, and the buyer's gonna have to be approved to the IURC to protect them. So, yeah, I don't like the fact that, they sent an email, but if you were to talk to any of those homeowners of that community, it's very, very, there's only 2 people that are part of the HOA because of the RIF, and they will all say this neighborhood's, the HOA is very dysfunctional at this point, and they don't really have one because of some of these antics as they're doing now at the last minute, sending these emails. It's a little frustrating. It'd be nice to be able to talk about it ahead of time, but I get it.
Any other questions? No? Thank you, guys. No one's here to remonstrate. Laura, do you have anything you want to add? Nothing to add? Okay. Just closes our public portion of the hearing. Floor is open to discussion. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a motion.
One more question from Mr. Larison. John, all your soil testings, is every bit of that on the B3 part that you have identified here that will go stay with the septic, or stay with the clusters.
Can you ask that again, please?
All your samples that you had on
Yes.
the forum, all of that is on this parcel, correct? None of it's over on this one?
None of it, no. In fact,
None of
it's
it's on-
all the way from one end of that B3 lot to the other.
Let me ask, and are you planning on doing any future soil testing on the rest of this?
I don't think there's any reason to. What I wish tonight that I had the results for all of these, but I don't have the soil boring results with me. They're on file with the Morgan County Health Department. They're required to be. So all that information's on file. I'll also point out that when you look at this system, it is very large. This septic system was designed originally for a lot more households than the 6. I didn't go out and probe to locate for sure exactly where the septic system is and isn't, but it's our belief that these are the only 3 clusters that were built. The original easement is twice that width, probably out to here. As you can see on your plat, I've got a 300-foot long easement that is called the primary easement. And then I've got a secondary easement that is 296 feet long. It's overkill. We've way beyond supplied enough room for any type of backup that would be needed. In fact, I don't believe that we would even, in doing repairs to the initial system, it probably wouldn't even make it to the secondary area. It would probably fit in the primary easement area. It's a very, very large easement area that we set aside.
If this system would fail, whose responsibility is it to fix it?
I believe it would be the homeowner's responsibility. I think that would be a legal question. Frankly, I'm not sure I'm even qualified to answer that question.
At $50 a month, that's $300 for the 6. That does not fix the septic system.
No.
Particularly that type of septic system.
No, but we all live with that kind of an uncertainty until we are on a sanitary sewer system.
And when the sewer system goes through there, the sanitary system, which we'll assume is going to, it's probably gonna cost more than $50 a month.
No doubt.
And is there gonna be any requirement for the people to hook up to this? So that this person who owns this property does not have to run this system for one person? And file reports at $50?
Would you like to see verbiage in the plat that they're required to put into a public sewer system the moment it becomes available?
I would think they would have to. But I can't say that it ever goes down well.
I'll say originally it was required if, and this was underneath the previous owner, if the rates were cheaper for John Smith's, they could stay on John's system. But if the county rates were gonna be cheaper, and Jeff Wild made that motion, I know, they would have to go to the new system. But that's been many years ago, and they went to a bankruptcy, so I'd say, oh, that's out of the water, John. But I would still think the developer's responsible for the clusters and not the homeowners. But I'm not no attorney, and I'm gonna leave that up to Mr. Peavy. But I would be curious to see who is responsible. Because, I mean, that's gonna make a big decision on my mind.
Well, you know, if you reduce it to a developer selling a lot with an on-site septic field
the
that
homeowner.
builder pays for his own septic field. And then if that fails, the builder pays to replace that septic field.
For the homeowner, yes.
I'm sorry, the homeowner.
Yes.
So the developer supplied the first one because it was convenient to get sales moving, and that was his best alternative at the time. But I can't think that it would be his responsibility or the developer's responsibility to build their second system. I would just disagree.
Yeah. And you might be right, I don't know,
How many additional
I'd like to
people
know.
in Oak Hills could hook up to this system?
6 is the limit for the current system, for what is in the ground now.
Talking 7 with the new, as I read it here on this petition, the person that is going to be doing something with this piece of land he's buying is going to hook up to this system.
Well, he'll be beyond his limit if he does. He will not, unless he adds on to the system, he cannot.
You know, reading back in here that it would be served by septic system here. How waste being handled as development septic system.
individual septic system, not on the cluster system.
We'll find out.
Yeah, he's not eligible. No more hookups to that system in its current size.
And they would have to put in the rest of the system on the other one, because it's only got the tank there for the second one, I know.
I'm just thinking, just want to think out loud here. I can't imagine, I think back to all the subdivisions we've been involved with, and the developer's never been responsible for a replacement septic field, one-site septic field. Never been.
I agree with that on a typical septic system. I totally agree, John. But where it's a type of a sewer system, that's a little different in my mind. That's where had the problems. This is traditional septic, like when they come back and ask for vacate replat, made bigger lots, they went on their own septic, absolutely. But the ones that's on the cluster, I mean, they're on a combined wastewater treatment system, and I look at that a little differently.
Let's think about what is in the ground, though. It sounds like when you say cluster system, like there's some kind of an advanced technology happening there, and that's just not the case.
I know.
This is a glorified, enlarged, obviously there are pumps involved because you have to have an equal allocation.
Yeah, yes. And there's also even on this type of algae well, didn't it have some kind of aeration system as well? I thought it had more than just,
I believe that the original
Was
plan,
going to be
the
a-
algae wheel
yes,
Yeah.
was an aeration system.
that's what I thought.
That is not what.
Oh, so that didn't actually get put in.
The original one did, but what they put in up there was
They
not.
just put finger systems in.
It is just a glorified.
No, it's just a tank and finger systems.
John did not,
Huh.
I want to watch what I say here.
I do too.
No, he never put that in.
Careful, Bill.
Some system proposed where they were going to bring the tanks in until it got bigger and all the development went on. And he had another development company to do that. I think it was Sunfish or Sunrise or something. There was numerous ones that we went through. And this is what ended up. This is not what was initially proposed because he was going to do the whole subdivision. He was going to do that subdivision down there at Big Bend Road. He was going to become the next Indianapolis sewer plant. And it ended up being a John deal.
Any other questions? If not, I'll call for a motion. Mr. Rumbaugh?
But I'm gonna move that we approve MIP-22.
Rumbaugh makes a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Justin, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Make sure you protect that field, though.
Still, just,
Yeah, I've got a lot of reservations.
man, not with the crap up there, And you also down
Just leave it
here,
with us, okay.
in this area here. This field here.
Mr. Peden, do you have anything?
Right here, right now, with water.
Nothing new to report?
Just land right in here.
Ms. Parker, do you have
Back before
anything
they
tonight?
develop this thing in there. If they could get 60 bushel to an acre corn, they were damn lucky.
No meeting next month.
Musgrave farmed that for years. Steve Robards. I went up there.
That's tabled for 60 days. Yeah.
I run this whole field here.
All right. Is that all you, is that it? All right, well. Meeting date is April 11th? April 11th, I'll call for a motion. Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
Did you get some, have you got some good news?
Not really, it's progress. They got me on different